Hey everybody, we're Mike and Ann from HoneyTrek. That is our trusty steed, Buddy the camper, and over the last 3 years he has taken us from the southern tip of the Baja Peninsula in Mexico all the way up to the Arctic Circle in Canada and 47 states in between.
RVing has been an incredible way to travel, giving us the freedom to explore with the comforts of home. And we've always loved RVing, but now more than ever, House on Wheels is one of the safest and easiest ways to get out there.
We've learned so much from our RV journey, and with the help of Allianz Travel Insurance, we're so excited to share the most essential tips to help you get out on the road and have a safe RV journey yourself. So to kick it off, let's get you into an RV. Our first tip is to rent before you buy one. So there's two big companies, Cruise America and El Monte. They're more like rental car companies. So you're gonna have a new fleet. It's gonna be inspected by professionals. They'll give you tips on how to use the RV when you first rent it. Then you've got peer-to-peer companies like Outdoorsy and RV Share. These guys have huge inventory, so no matter where you are in the US, there's gonna be somebody near you and you're gonna be supporting somebody local. And they've got a big range of models. So if you're looking to buy a certain type, a fifth wheel, a truck camper, something like Buddy, you can rent almost the same model and see if it's the right fit for you and your family.
Now, picking the right size RV, this matters because as tempting as these big luxury rigs can be when you've got all the amenities of home, it'll be slide outs, and while it could be good for larger families, if you can go smaller, as in 23 feet in length or less, there's so many benefits. Being that nimble means you can access more rugged terrain, get into the back roads, go into the forest, and you can fit in a normal parking spot. So it's no big deal just to quickly stop at the grocery store or even parallel park in a downtown area. It helps you avoid length restrictions, which come into play a lot of times at national parks and on historic roads and ferry rides so you can fit on. Then you get way better gas mileage, and that is one of our biggest expenses. Now, your average RV, just so you know, gets about 6 to 10 miles per gallon, versus a smaller one, ours gets 19, and we've even heard of some that get up to 30. That's going to help your road trip planning in the long run. And bottom line is, you're still big enough to have a bathroom, a bedroom, a kitchen, and ample storage, while being small enough to explore and get out there with wild abandon.
Now everyone's favorite topic, how to handle water and sewer while you're out on the road. So every RV is going to have 3 tanks. One's going to be your freshwater holding tank. That's going to be your drinking water for showering, washing your dishes. And then you've got a gray tank underneath which catches that runoff from the dishwater, and a black tank which catches the water from your toilet and your shower. Also inside your rig, there's going to be a little panel that tells you how full each of those tanks are. And when the black tank and the gray tank are near full, you're going to want to find a dump station. You'll get those at campgrounds, at rest areas, some camping stores, truck stops. Usually it's around $10, sometimes it's free, and there's a great app called RV Dump Sites.
Now, propane is the fuel that heats your shower, runs your stove, and your fridge. Some RVs have electric fridges, but propane is great because it can work off grid. To fill a propane tank, it costs about $20, and it's good for about 2 weeks. You can refill it at gas stations, hardware stores. U-Haul is also a great source.
Now, how do we get power to your rig? RVs and campers all have what we call a house battery, and that runs your lights, your water pump, the fans, charges up your laptops and cell phones, and there's a few different ways you can keep that battery charged.
Your engine should actually be charging your house battery, and if you're on a big road trip, that might be enough to get you the juice you need to charge up your stuff. Many people just plug in at a campground. That'll run you about $30 to $60 a night. And then some people also have a generator. Now this runs off gasoline, so that's draining your initial supply. They're very noisy, smelly, and not very good for the environment, but that's an option. Then there's solar panels. Our personal favorite that has served us very well for not just the long-term cost savings, but the environmental benefits.
We've actually run only on solar for the last 3.5 years. We haven't run our generator a single hour since we bought our rig, and we also haven't plugged in to a house or the grid a single day since we bought our rig.
Actually ripped out the generator and the plug because we were so confident in our solar setup.
We've got 3 100-watt panels up on the top of Buddy. They're flexible, monocrystalline. We got them from Windy Nation. And then inside the rig, we've got a battery. We highly recommend a lithium-ion battery. It's a little bit more pricey, but worth the spend. Now let's talk about where you're going to sleep every night. Most campers have no idea the plethora of options they have available. Most people think about RV parks, the rigs lined up in a row. Those have amenities like power, water, sewer. Sometimes they'll have laundry, even a pool or a clubhouse. Then you've got campgrounds like you might find at a national or a state park. They're going to be a little bit more basic. They'll have a nice flat spot to park on. They'll have a picnic table, usually a fire pit, maybe a shared toilet. Those are going to be more like $10 to $30 a night.
Good resources for those are Reserve America and Recreation.gov if you know you want to book something in advance. Private land, which has come on the scene with sites like Hip Camp, where maybe it's somebody's got a big ranch or a farm and they allow you to camp for the night. This could be really interesting in terms of getting extra privacy for your group and also maybe meeting a cool host. Public lands, this is by far and away the way that we camp. This is how this campsite is set up because you know what? The federal government has reserved 640 million acres of land for public use. So go enjoy it. It's usually free. You might know this sometimes as national forests, Bureau of Land Management, national conservation areas. These are great ways to camp. They tend to be rustic. So to know the terminology for this, these rustic sites are often called dispersed camping, dry camping, wild camping, or boondocking. They might be as basic as just a plot of land, but what you always get is, a real connection to nature. And if you're a self-contained RV, you might not need more than a view anyway.
And the extra bonus is that even though most of these places are free, I would say 99 out of 100 times that we've boondocked in one of these free lands, there's nobody around for miles. So it's not only affordable, but there's nobody out there, which is the reason we all want to get out into the woods anyway.
A great resource for this is an app that we use every day called UC Public CG.
And there's a few more camping resources we have to tell you about. One is an app called iOverlander. That's going to be great when you're near cities and maybe need a secret spot or somewhere that's not a traditional campground. That app is also great for telling you where to fill up your propane and water tanks. And it's got user reviews on the site, which is very helpful. Another app that's similar you should check out is called Campendium.
Unlike a campground, we like to connect with locals, so not other travelers, but people who are actually from that area, and two awesome ways to do that are Harvest Hosts and Boondockers Welcome. Starting with Harvest Hosts, this is a huge network of farms and breweries and wineries who have a lot of land and who are friendly to RVers that say, hey, come stay the night in exchange for buying a bottle of wine or a bunch of carrots, twist my arm. It's a great way to stay, and it's free with a membership.
Boondockers Welcome is very similar, except that it's private landowners that just have space and they're RV friendly and they just want to have a good conversation. Maybe you share a bottle of wine with them when you get there. That is a great resource to meet locals. It costs nothing to stay there. It's a $50 membership. It gets you the whole year, unlimited stays all over the US, Canada, Mexico.
Let's talk about the internet. Now we're going into the woods because we want to unplug, but unfortunately sometimes you need to check that email and, get a little Wi-Fi. Here's how to find it. Your phone is a hotspot. So if you have a national network like AT&T or Verizon, that's usually pretty good to check your email in the woods. There's tons of roadside resources. We love working at libraries. They're some of the most inspiring spaces and they don't mind if you stay all day if you need to get stuff done. To find more places to connect, there's a great resource called Wi-Fi Map, and it shows millions of Wi-Fi hotspots all around the world, even gives you the passwords.
So we've talked about water, electricity, sewage, getting internet, where you're going to camp every night. Now let's get into the most important thing,
The
journey. It's magical. Don't just put in your destination and do the fastest route there. We've seen too many RVs just flying down the highway because their dream is to get somewhere. But that whole distance from your house to where you're trying to get is really cool. So get a dedicated GPS unit, put it on the dash, because you do not want to be reliant on your cell phone because you're going to be without service a lot on this road trip because that's where the magic is. So you put that on the dash, you type in avoid highways. It might add a few miles, maybe it adds a little bit of time to your journey, but well worth it. You're going to see the little ice cream shop or the old farmer in his field and stop at that coffee shop maybe to get a little work done and have a cup of joe. But it's a beautiful part of your trip. And there's two good resources to find this. One's a website that lists all of America's byways, and that's 150 different routes that are protected by the Department of Transportation for their historical, natural, and cultural value. Another is a hard copy book called Nat Geo's Scenic Highways and Byways. We always have that in our rig. We tell every RVer or camper, hey, put this in your rig because you're going to be without service, and you can just open up and learn about these really cool backcountry roads that are all over the US. So skip the highway on your next trip and take the back roads.
We want you to have the smoothest and best ride possible. So take a few precautions to protect yourself and your ride. First is you're going to need RV insurance. Very similar to car insurance, but it's specialty. Good news is that can be about the same or less than insuring a sedan, but you need it as an RVer. Get that? And then roadside assistance. You're going to need an RV specific membership so that they can tow your longer vehicle, deal with changing a tire on a heavier vehicle. So that's essential. And also plans like Good Sam is made specifically for RVers and gets you lots of extra perks. Now, travel insurance. If you are a frequent traveler, we say no matter what, you should have an annual plan. We've used Allianz All Trips Premier for years, and it's been great for RVing journeys as well. So download their Travel Smart app, and it'll give you up-to-date alerts on things, a whole slew of resources from travel planning to any snafu that can arise. You can call them up and quickly file claims.
And that's a wrap for our top RV travel tips. Thank you guys so much for sticking with us. Huge love to Allianz for sponsoring this video. Hopefully everybody watching has learned something about RV travel. If you have any questions or want clarification on anything, ask us in the comments below. You can also find us at HoneyTrek across all social media. And another thing I want you to say is if an RV dropped in your driveway today, where's the first place you would point it on your road trip?
Think about that. And once again, thanks for watching. Stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you on the road. So take some precautions, okay, got it.
Take 75,000.
Smoothly and okay. I think I got it already. Okay.
Oh, you do the fun ones?
Exactly.
No.
Yeah,
I did the poop. I did the sewage. Got it.
That was good.
Boom.
That was good.
One and done. Comments. And yeah, give us a thumbs up. Blah blah blah. And I'm just rambling on and on. What do I want to say? God. Whew. These trees are kind of moving up there. If we're not here later, folks, you know, it's one of these trees came down on us.
That's why we have travel insurance.